had once been a civilized land.
This is day. And this is night in what was once Yugoslavia. The fighting, the suffering, and the dying have become routine. These Sarajevo residents were waiting in line for bread when they were suddenly hit by mortar fire. The images were some of the first and most shocking from the Civil War, but they would become commonplace as the year and the war dragged on. This was the world's first glimpse inside Serbian detention camps.
Can you tell us anything about the conditions that you were being kept in and the treatment of the people you were with?
Well, that was a hard time, what can you say?
We heard stories of people being beaten and people disappearing. Did that happen?
Well, I can't say much about that.
It was difficult to tell what was really happening in the camps, but the world shuddered at the possibility of Nazi-style atrocities and rumors of a bloody purge of ethnic minorities.
If what we read is true, then these are crimes against humanity. And when such crimes are being committed, we cannot stand by.
The UN began an investigation, but it was impossible to find out who had authority over the camps. The UN focused its efforts on bringing relief in the form of food and medicine. That met with limited success and at times seemed impossible.
Half of the aid that came in earlier today, you might say, is trapped at the airport because obviously it's impractical to send soft-skin trucks over there to pick it up and bring it through. I think it's a real shame that both sides are engaging in fighting very, very close to the airport.
UN peacekeepers, the name taking on particular irony in Bosnia, continuously spilled their blood. The Blue Helmets tried to keep the lifeline of supplies flowing from the airport, but any venturing beyond the confines of the airport was a hazardous undertaking. And those who covered the violence were not safe either. CNN camerawoman Margaret Moth, who was seriously wounded, and ABC producer David Kaplan, who was killed, were among the journalists who became casualties. Back in New York, the world body imposed sanctions on Serbia. The action led to gas lines in Belgrade, but goods, including arms, still got through. They were simply shipped up the Danube instead of from the sea. Throughout the world, there was talk of using force to end the fighting.
We just can't stand idly by and watch these people being shot, maimed, driven from their homes, put into concentration camps.
But no sitting government was willing to risk sending its sons and daughters to the killing fields of the Balkans. Those who could fled. Well beyond 1 million refugees in all, the greatest number of displaced persons in Europe since World War II.
I have no future there because, I mean, everything is destroyed. Everything, and I don't have a place to go back.
All my life, all my past is destroyed, absolutely destroyed.
And those that got out, even with nothing, appeared to be the lucky ones. As winter set in, relief officials warned of the possibility of widespread famine and the loss of hope. It was in a similar vein that one UN commander left Sarajevo in July.
So you have to be pessimistic, but you don't give up hope. I mean, should we all leave and let them go at it and come back and pick up the pieces? That's not the way the new world order is supposed to work.
For Year in Review, I'm Jonathan Mann.
I'm Judy Fortin. Here's a look at some of the events of 1992, month by month. Russian President Boris Yeltsin lifts price controls. President Zviad Gamsakhurdia of Georgia flees and angry rebels take control.
The Citizens Grand Jury charged Dr. Kevorkian with 2 counts of open murder.
Ireland is in an uproar over a travel ban on a 14-year-old rape victim seeking an abortion in Britain.
This is not compliance, but hide and seek, cat and mouse, cheat and retreat.
South African whites vote to end minority rule through negotiations with blacks.
Today, we have closed the book on apartheid.
The House bank scandal cracks wide open and members scramble for cover. The UN imposes anti-terrorism sanctions on Libya, and Libyans attack Western embassies.
The manufacturers have not shown these devices to be safe.
Muslim rebels march into Kabul, ending 14 years of Soviet puppet regimes.
Okay, wait. Let's do it.
Pro-democracy protesters in Thailand battle police until the military government cracks down.
Here's Johnny!
I bid you a very heartfelt good night.
The vision of a united Europe is clouded when Danish voters narrowly reject the Maastricht Treaty.
We are announcing the arrests of 2 persons charged with kidnapping and extortion in connection with the disappearance of Exxon executive Sidney J. Riso.
Let's go! A long-awaited Supreme Court ruling gives states new power to restrict abortions, but upholds Roe v. Wade.
We're leaving here now for security reasons.
Prominent Democrat Clark Clifford is indicted in the BCCI scandal. Young neo-Nazis riot in Rostock, Germany.
Gregory, you're the son of Mr. and Mrs. Rice at this moment.
He's always going to be my son. I don't care what anybody says.
Russia tries to put state property in private hands by issuing vouchers to every man, woman, and child. 5 American nuns are shot and killed in Liberia as the country's civil war intensifies. The Church of England votes to allow women to become priests.
We do have people who are homosexuals who served our country with distinction.
My first day was nothing less than wonderful.
The U.S. commits troops to Somalia to bring order to chaos and food to the starving.
Magic Johnson said he didn't want to play basketball if there wasn't any fun. Well, it stopped being fun this year when number 32 tried to make his comeback.
I love this game. I don't want to be, Larry Bird and myself brought this game to where it is. I don't want to be the guy who now puts a black mark on it, So I just say, hey, it's time for me to go.
For Earvin Magic Johnson, that time came and went and came again.
Because of the HIV virus that I have attained, I will have to retire from the Lakers today.
But it was impossible to leave the court behind. There was the All-Star Game, the Dream Team. And after the gold medal, everyone knew that he would return.
So, since my wife has decided to let me play, I'm coming back to the Lakers, and I'm playing again.
But it was not Magic and Cookie's decision alone. Several NBA players expressed concern about playing with Magic, and Karl Malone said he spoke for them.
I couldn't play up to my capability, knowing if a situation came down between me and him or between me and another player that had the virus.
And when Magic cut himself in one exhibition game, that must have made things worse.
I knew it was going to be tough because, you know, we kept...